Please, let's take our seats. God is good, and all the time. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Our spiritual fathers who are here, and I see in our midst the fathers of faith of our nation. I see many other people who are very familiar to me, and I want to say how proud I am that I am in the midst of friends. I am in the midst of people who we share the same faith. As I have said before, I will repeat it again. I am a Christian, I believe in God, and I have no apologies to make. I'm very happy that I got an invitation to be part of this celebration of 50 years of EAK and the enormous mission that you have carried out in our country. Many of us are beneficiaries, many of us are products of that great mission that has been undertaken by EAK in our country. I say so because in this congregation, I have many spiritual fathers, friends, who prayed me into office. And to come here to celebrate these moments with you is a great joy for me and my family. I bring greetings from my wife Rachel, lest I fall into the trouble I have had here people can get into. I did mention to her that I was coming here, and my kids and family, and we really appreciate the fellowship that we continue to enjoy from you and from the church and believers in Kenya. Running Kenya is a difficult job. You know as much. And but God does not make mistakes. So I am clear in my mind that God has given me the assignment to be the leader of this nation at a time like this. And I just want to maybe say 3 or 4 things. I know many of you sometimes wonder whether God is doing the things we asked him to do under my leadership. I will tell you the first thing that when I came into office, we had a very difficult situation. Our economy was in a very serious place. We'd come out of COVID. We had the biggest debt ticket in our region. We had $2 billion to pay. Our inflation was at 9%, 9.6%. Our dollar exchange rate was at 162, 165. Our dollar reserves at the central bank were at a minimum of $5.7 billion, only 2.5 months cover of imports. We had a serious situation. In fact, my friend here, Jalango, the member of parliament for this region, will tell you, before the handover, my predecessor met the Azimio team here in Masai Lodge. And my predecessor told them, in 3 months' time, our country is going to default in our foreign obligations because we were among the 6 countries in Africa that were estimated that they will default on their international financial obligations. But I stand here today, before you, to tell you, Kenya did not default. Our inflation has come down from 9.6 to 4.5%. Our exchange rate has come down from 165 to 129 shillings to the dollar. Our foreign exchange reserves have increased from $5.7 billion, now it is $11.8 billion. The IMF released a report 2.5 months ago and said Kenya had overtaken Ethiopia, had overtaken Angola. We are now the 6th largest economy in Africa. Credit rating agencies elevated Kenya's credit rating to a new rating, from B- to B. It takes the hand of God for things to change that much in just 3 years. Therefore, I am very clear in my mind that God is in Kenya's equation. Let me give you another 2 examples so that you just confirm if that is to be the case. Many of your institutions run universities and schools. In 2023, we had a very big debate as a nation as to whether CBC works. We had a serious teacher shortage of close to 120,000 teachers shortage. Most of our universities were struggling. In fact, I was telling the earlier team who came to meet me that 23 universities in Kenya, public universities, had been declared insolvent. Again, I can stand here today and report to you that we have straightened CBC. We have hired, by January, we will have hired 100,000 teachers. We have sorted out the challenges we had in our university education. We now have a student-centered financing model, and our education is again looking up. Again, it takes the hand of God to get things right. You all remember in 2022, there were people in the streets, sufurias on their heads, because unga was 240, 250 per 2 kilogram bag, right? Did you see them? Do you see them anymore? Do you know what happened? We'd come out of a very serious drought. In fact, the most severe drought in 40 years. We were in difficulties. And some good men of God suggested that we must pray for rain in Kenya. Remember? We went to Nyayo Stadium and prayed, lifted up our voices. And you know what many people said? Look at these ones. You know, they are going to pray for rain, Nyayo Stadium. Look at what God has done. We've had 3 years consistent of rain. Today in the morning, my mother came to see me from the village. And when I was talking to her, she said, Do you remember she had planted some sugarcane? Or the sugarcane now is inside the water. The whole place. It's been raining. That was my mother this morning. Look at what God can do. Our maize production has gone up from around 40 million bags a year in 2022. Last year it was 64 million. This year we are expecting 75 million bags of maize. For those of you who are coffee farmers, you know our coffee prices have gone up from 60 shillings a kilo to now 120, 130 shillings a kilo, right? And so is our tea. And so is our sugar. We've been importing sugar as a country for the last 40 years. But we've carried out reforms in that sector. We've licensed four new sugar mills. We have moved production in the last 2 years from 500,000 metric tons. Last year we were at 815,000 metric tons. By next year, God willing, we'll get to 1 million. And in 3 to 4 years, Kenya will be a net exporter of sugar. And so I have every reason to be proud of the God I believe in. Let me give you one more example. You know, we have been discussing the subject of housing as a country for the last, I don't know how many years. Housing was in the NAC manifesto. It was in the KANU manifesto. It was in the Grand Coalition manifesto. It was in the Jubilee manifesto. In this election, it was both in the Azimio manifesto and the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. But nobody has dared to implement it. Of course, I've had to earn a few names, Zakayo included. But I can confidently stand before you today. We are building 170,000 housing units across Kenya. We are building 400 markets for our mama mbogas. We're doing hostels for our students. I was in one such development yesterday in Mombasa. And we have hired 320,000 young people in those spaces, going to 650 in a couple of months, and 1 million people will be working in our housing development by next year. We're not only creating jobs, we are moving people away from the indignity of living in slums. Listen, in 2023, I invited the Prime Minister of Singapore. He came to Kenya. I had a thorough conversation with him. Why? Because in 1963, Kenya and Singapore had the same problem. Singapore was a slum like our Kibera here. You've seen the pictures, for those of you who follow current affairs. It was a slum with people making alcohol in all manner of places. But Singapore today, 95% of their population are homeowners. They are in the first world. What about our country? 7 million people live in slums. We're still in the third world. That is the difference. And the only difference is leadership. People with the courage to make the right decisions, however inconvenient, however not so popular. today we are making the strides. We already have a pipeline of 700,000 housing units. You have seen people shed tears as they move from, slum houses with no water, with no electricity, with no roads. And the most outstanding thing is that those who move from the slums to the settlements we are creating, the big thing they say is at least they have a toilet for themselves. You remember the things we take for granted? You have 3, 4 toilets in your house. There are people, families, 5, 6, 7, 8 families sharing one toilet, and you have to pay. Those are the things we are changing in our nation. Are we together? And then the Bible reminds us in Proverbs, I think 13:22 or thereabout, says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Does it? Yes. And the reason why we almost became victims of debt is because we do not have a good culture of saving. We consume everything we get. And so we decided that we are going to change the savings culture in Kenya. And look at what has happened. In just 2 years, we had saved at NSSF, our Social Security Fund, we had saved 320 billion for 60 years. We have doubled what we have saved in 60 years. We have doubled it in 2 years. By the end of this month, we had 320 in 2023, 320 billion. By end of this month, we will have 650 billion. By end of 2027, we will have 1 trillion shillings at NSSF. Tell me what's going to happen in 5 years. Tell me what's going to happen in 10 years, in 20. We will not be borrowing money from China. We will be borrowing our own money in Kenya. And I just want to put confidence in you that let us believe in ourselves, let's believe in our country, and let us believe in God. Because it is possible for us to transition this country from where we are to the next level. And I am persuaded, I am a believer. Sometimes I get into trouble with Kenyans because I walk by faith. Many walk by sight. They say, we have not seen. You are lying. We have not seen. All right? So that's the disconnect sometimes I do have, because it takes time for people to see. But let me promise you that the commitments we made, by God's grace, those who did not see are beginning to see. You cannot hide the houses anymore. You cannot hide the markets anymore. Bishop Kitoto, I don't know why he didn't read, but he mentioned Matthew 25, 35, and 36. Did you? Yes. You did not. But you know what it says? It speaks to all of us. It speaks to me in my office. There are many Kenyans outside there who have no place to live. They live in slums. We need to take them in. Can somebody maybe screen that? I don't know whether. Yes. And 36 as well. Yes. I was sick. You know, it is the reason why universal health coverage is part of the assignment that God has given me. We have struggled with NHIF for long. It was about a few people. It was about people who have means. It was about people who can pay. It was about people who have salaries. Now we have a universal health coverage. We are 25 million people. We are 7 million people registered in the former NHIF. Now we have 27 million people registered in our new platform. And I want to tell you that slowly and surely, the missions, the people who run hospitals are coming around. They were complaining SHA is not working. They graduated and said, yes, it's working, but slowly we are refining it. And I promise you, by God's grace, it will be possible for each and every citizen of Kenya to be treated and paid for without the burden of selling their properties to be able to meet their medical expenses. Bishop Kitoto reminded me that I have 15 minutes. I think I have exhausted my minutes, but I'm looking for another opportunity to discuss with leaders, Kenyan leaders, including our spiritual leaders, so that I can share with you my vision of where I think this country should go. We have wasted a lot of time making peace with mediocrity, working with the average, when God wants us to be excellent. So, and let me tell you, in our lifetime, it is possible to move this country from the third world of today to first world. I say this, and some people think I am mad. I am not mad. It is possible. With God, it is possible. And I have started this conversation with many people, with many leaders, because it's doable. Look at what we have done. We have doubled our savings in 2 years. You know, the housing program is funded 100% by resources from Kenya. 100%. Do you know how much contracts we have signed in the housing program? Contracts worth 600 billion, using our own money. This universal health coverage, the money that have been mobilized to do universal local money, we've not borrowed from nobody. 300 billion of our own money. And so, it is possible for us to transform this nation. We need not borrow left, right, and center. We need to organize, mobilize our own resources, and transform our nation. And it is possible for us to do this in our lifetime. And I want to ask you, as leaders, as Christian leaders, to work with us so that we can get this country to the next level. I am very confident about the future of this nation. You know, we have people who don't believe in our nation. They don't believe in our ability. They speak ill about our nation. They speak negative things about our nation. I want to tell you, we have a blessed nation. We have a great nation. and God is going to help us to make it greater. Thank you very much. God bless you.